And good evening, welcome back to another blind live Let's Play here, live and exclusive to YouTube. I am your host Swishbone for the remainder of the evening. For those of you who have been here before, maybe you've watched me trying to do some nice cruising here on Gran Turismo 4 in the past. Maybe you watched me play all the Persona games, all the Danganronpa games, all the Shin Megami Tensei games. Maybe you watched me trying and failing to sneak at Dishonored, or perhaps you here back in the day for the really classic streams like Final Fantasy 7 and Forza 4. A huge welcome back to all my returning viewers. To those of you who have never been here before, I said this channel, it's mostly about taking games, giving our reactions and putting plenty of banter and chat in the box that way. Get your comments in there, I'll do what I can to interact with you all. That includes you, Joe Duke, who says, hi, how am I doing? I'm absolutely fine, mate. Edging closer to the middle part of the week, so there's still quite a long way to go, but hey ho, what can we do? Naomi also in there saying good evening to you, Naomi, how are you doing? Now, what we're going to do to pick up tonight's stream is I've actually got the old Nissan Skyline back out, and the reason is I'm going to see if I can possibly use the four-wheel drive in this car in the special condition event. I want to see if I can get any cars, because last time we did this game, we were struggling for events towards the end, because the price car pool was making it difficult for us to find races to get into. So let's see if we can find any gems in here. So, the first one says it's the Rally di Umbria. There's no restrictions, all cars permitted. Oh, okay. And I did buy some dirt tyres, so we got them ready. And they'll now be fitted medium racing 3 tyres. I'm guessing we're not going to be on dirt here then. Okay, fair enough. And it is indeed race week, Joe, you're quite correct. Yes, we've got the race coming up. Renault 5 Turbo from 1980. It's probably not going to have much chance against my Skyline, but take a look at this beauty that I've got to follow. Look at that. Oddly enough, in my town recently, I saw a 1990s variant of that with full rally body kit and gold rims. It looks stunning. Parked in a lay-by on my street in the middle of Yorkshire. Look at that guy with throwing his hands up in the air like he didn't care there on top of the roof. So here we go. See you later, Mr. Renault. I'm afraid you are out of your class here today. You are up against the Skyline, and the Skyline immediately gets me a penalty because I don't know how to drive, and I go straight into the wall. Well, never mind. We're still in the lead. So the Renault 5 was indeed a very nice looking car. It was like my sister nearly had one as a Motability car back in the day. But we decided instead to get a VW Golf GTI. There's a tough choice for you. What would you go between? The old classic Peugeot 205, the Renault 5, or the Golf GTI? They're all great cars. Any one of them will do the job. A little bit of roll ride in there because we can. Yes, that's right. We're going to cheat in this run because I'm behind the wheel of the car, and if I want to cheese it, I'm going to cheese it. I've got to say that I do actually love driving this track. When you proper nail it and get between the buildings, it feels awesome. I think there's something about threading the needle between the buildings. It's just so fantastic. They say the 205 GTI was a great car, wasn't it? The old Peugeot 205 back in the 1980s. As I say, the cars might not have been as safe as modern cars. No airbags, no airbags. Seatbelts that weren't as strong. No side impact bars. But did you have fun driving them? Oh yes, you did. You had a ton of fun. Says the guy who's never driven a car in his life and has just got a penalty to prove that he can't drive. Although, ironically, it did get me through that chicane quite quickly. Meanwhile, good evening, Mr. Jack. How are you doing? Nice to see you. And, you're leaving a message for a future viewer, assuming they joined tonight's stream. We shall see. How are you feeling anyway, mate? Yeah, the Renault 5 is a bit outclassed against my my Skyline is a bit out of class against the Renault 5, but there's no car restrictions. I could have turned up to this event in a Formula 1 car if I wanted to. Oh god, there's an idea. Take a Formula 1 car around streets like this. Yeah, that'll test if whether you got any paid drivers like Pastor Maldonado or Nicholas Latifi driving your car. Make them thread the needle in a car around here. I say the graphics do hold up quite well, but I've just realised something. I've not activated the 1080i mode, so they're looking a bit blurrier than normal. Give me a second, guys. I'll be able to fix that in a minute. Another penalty there because I decided to crash head-on into a wall. Not that it's going to help Zerno. And good evening, Avian. Just seen you drop into the chat there. How are you doing? Good evening to you. Good evening. How are you doing? Good evening to you. Sound like an old cheesy 1980s British TV show host, which would be fitting considering I was born in the 80s. Born in the 80s, child in the 90s. Ooh, Joe, that sounds horrible. You say a French YouTuber tried a 205 GTI and the throttle got stuck. Wow. Oh, Irish to Jack, anytime, mate, is to say we all need to support each other, especially in times like now, so it's fine. And say incidents like that one in particular were quite annoying. Now, if you bear me a second, guys, just quickly going to go into the visuals. Because you can see there, we're in video output mode normal. We're still in video output mode normal because I wasn't paying attention. There we are. That should now make things a lot clearer. It was still pretty clean anyway, but it should be easier. Oh no! Oh, dislocated finger. Ouch! That's not fun at all, Avian. I hope it's not too sore for you. There's nothing worse than that. Also, guys, I've made a slight change to the audio in order to basically. I did this on a Dishonored 2 stream last time, so the game audio might be a bit louder. Tell me if it's too loud, because the problem is when you play different games, volumes come in at different levels, and it's almost impossible to keep them consistent. You'd think by choosing your desktop audio and it'd keep the same level. Nah, doesn't work like that. So now we've got the same track again, but this time we're going in reverse. Now, I've never actually driven this layout in reverse. So this is going to be interesting. I've not actually driven this track backwards. Oh, look at that guy there, look at him. Check out that bandana and the shades on that guy to the right. And say, Avian, when I brought my arm, I was having to rely on doing everything one-handed, and I've never ever realised how difficult it is to operate a computer. Oh! Yeah, we would have all been like squished into a 2-foot cube then, people. I went straight into an outcrop. Ouch. And the Renault 5 driver's like, what are you doing, you plonker? And the Renault 5 driver would be correct. Wow. I have completely screwed the pooch on this one. You know when I said that I've never driven this track backwards? Here's your proof, people. I've never driven this course this way before. I have no reference point now. Oh, we took off. Wow, okay, we literally went flying then. Yeah, FIA, get this on the Formula 1 calendar. The closest we got to this is going to the castle section in Azerbaijan. That's probably the closest we've got to it. Ah, wow, you went to the walking centre and they went, we're amazed you've got here, but would you kindly go to the emergency room? Oh, nearly. I nearly sideswiped him. I nearly stopped him. Say, the Renault, oh, it's crashed. I don't believe it. The AI has crashed. That's something that doesn't happen in Gran Turismo 7. The AI has just crashed. Polyphony Digital, you can do real life AI. You did it on Gran Turismo 4. And I've got to be careful that I'm not shouting actually. I just realised the microphone's a lot closer than I thought, so all you're going to be getting is spittle and cracking. Even with the filter, it's not going to be enough to stop it when I'm being too loud. Ah, that's better. Yeah. Now we're talking. Yes. So far, so good. Yeah, the one-handed type of when I'd say I had that issue, having to use my left hand only for everything. When I had my broken arm, Avian, I had to use a mouse left-handed. Never felt so useless in my life. In fact, do you know all these like godly first-person shooter players who always blow everyone away in games online? That should be a new rule. You have to play with your opposite hands as a handicap. I'd be interested to see how, like, you know, if you took like a guy who's like a pro on something like, say, Doom or PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds or on Call of Duty or whatever, and make it so they have to play PC setup using a left-handed approach. So you have to mouse aim with your left hand and use the arrow keys instead of WASD for your movement. They wouldn't have a clue. It would be so confusing. And John Romero would still have beaten me 20-0, even if he was forced to do it that way. In fact, John Romero, if you're watching this stream, there's a challenge for the next time you do Play Expo. Play all the regular players, but use your opposite hand. Wipe the floor with all of us when you're using a setup that's completely wrong. So, with that in mind, we've managed to win 2 races in a row. The question is, do we get anything for it? What do we get? We get a loading screen, and oh, here we go. The Cadillac Chean 2002. What on earth is that? That's a very, very angular car. And I actually really like it, actually. This is the kind of thing I would have tried to design when I was in high school. Looks beastly, that car, so the Cadillac Chean. Looks very, very fast. But just because it looks it, doesn't mean it is. And yeah. I had to try cooking one-handed with my left hand. Oh. Naomi, that's interesting. You say platformers on PC usually have right-handed directional controls, but don't they just use WASD on the keyboard? Literally, instead of using the arrow keys up, down, left, right, use W, A, S, and D. Because that's what I've been doing when I've been playing Resident Evil 2, the remake, offline. So, we've done that one. Let's go to the Costa di Amalfi. I think this is another tarmac rally, actually, because we did it in the... yes, it is. This is another Italian Riviera one. It's the intense battle veiled in the beauty of the Mediterranean Sea. Okay. It's 2002. High school. For me, that was university. Year 1. That's right, people. I was at university 21 years ago. Boy, do I feel gnawed. Ooh, look at the car we're up against. A Lancia Delta Integrale. Oh, one of my favourite cars. The Lancia Delta Integrale. It doesn't look like much, but believe me, that thing goes like the clappers. Absolutely awesome car. But it's not as awesome as my Skyline. Right, here we go. Watch this, people. Here's how you do this rally. Your wall ride. Get it right, you don't get penalties. You can literally just wall ride. You can do it legit. Oh, apologies, people. We actually have flash photography at the side of the circuit. I do apologise if you get random flashes. I forgot about that. Oh, get back in there, you idiot. I nearly ran him over. Yeah, all these people just chilling out on the wall. Yeah, don't mind us, mate. Don't mind us. Yeah, my car is a bit unfair at the moment. Just a bit unfair. 4-wheel drive, 500 horsepower, racing tyres. It's a bit out of the league compared to those guys. Especially when I do that as well. So I can have maximum drive down the hill. Gotta be careful here. Very, very blind, deceptive hairpin. Whoa! Oh, nicely parked! Very nicely parked indeed. I even had time to show off to the crowd. That's how good I am at this game, people. I'm not. I'm really not. Very, very tight corners here. Gives you a chance to look at the audience. So I'll get on to reading any more of your comments in a moment, people. Apologies for keeping you waiting. Oh, wow. Commander Keen versus Super Mario. Oh, now we're talking. Wow, that is winding the clock way back. Yeah, I remember, say, WASD didn't really come in until the late 90s. I remember playing Doom, having to use arrow keys. That was a nightmare. I can't remember who it was that came up with WASD, but wherever you are, you're a legend. It's become like the norm since, well, the year dot. Or at least it feels that way. You think though with modern ports of those games, they've updated it to change the controls a bit. It's kind of like how with Crisis Core Reunion, how they updated it to use both analog sticks and give you much more control. Compared to the PSP controls, Crisis Core Reunion feels like something else. Those of you who've played Crisis Core Reunion will know exactly what I'm on about. This time we were quite a bit quicker. We managed to avoid spinning. Although we still got a penalty according to the screen because I can't get rid of the text due to the way I'm playing the game. Oh god, hand cramp. Yes, I remember those days. And finish. So that's the first race. We've got to go back the opposite direction after this. So once again we've got to do it in a way I'm not familiar with. But as we are getting prize cars by doing it this way, we'll do a few of these events just to give ourselves some kind of chance, just to see if we can get anything decent. As I say, I remember back in the day, people were using tracker balls for the first time as a way to try and like get an edge in first-person shooters. Nowadays, you have to pretend with people using aim bots. I watched a video recently by someone on YouTube. I can't remember what the channel was called, and they did a list of 8 streamers who got caught cheating. And there was one set where a person had joined a team in India for a game it wasn't Call of Duty, it wasn't Battlegrounds, it wasn't Fortnite, but it was something in that kind of line. And they went to this esports tournament, and at the tournament put an aimbot on the computer. And when the organisers caught on they were potentially cheating, they tried to shield their computer and delete the aimbot in the middle of the tournament. Like, how stupid can you be? I actually don't remember playing Half-Life on PC, so I can't comment on that one actually, to be honest, Naomi. Half-Life, one of my mates had it, but he was one of these heathens who used the controller for everything. Even on PC, he wouldn't use keyboard and mouse, despite the obvious edge it gave you in terms of mouse look. Like playing Resident Evil 2 Remake using keyboard and mouse, I can't believe just how much extra precision you have with your aiming, although using a controller. It feels a world different, and it's why I'm going to do Resident Evil 4 Remake on Steam. Speaking of which, Resident Evil 4 Remake drops on the 24th of this month. I will be playing it day one. I am going to be doing that on the day it happens. I will be downloading it in the morning, and I'll be making sure it's ready to go. So long as there's no problems with capture, which, judging by the ease with which I captured the demo, I can't see it being a problem. I'll be playing it day one. So, there will be spoilers for Resident Evil 4 Remake if you're planning to play it and you don't want to watch my stream. Well, I'm glad you all love the look of the demo. As I say, it was a great looking game, a lot of fun to play. And I'd say I want to do a massive shout out to Dragon of the Djima, actually, who told me about a hidden feature in that game. There's actually a hidden extra weapon, and to get it is one of the most obtuse things I've ever thought of. At the end of the demo, I got into the village where there was the police officer that was immolated. Basically, before you go into the village, if you discard everything in your inventory, go into the village, you can sneak to the back, and there is a well that gets opened for whatever reason. At the bottom of the well is a load of treasure chests and boxes for a weapon that's like a submachine gun, and it's incredibly powerful. So if you want to have some fun on Resident Evil 4 Remake's Chainsaw demo, and you played through the main thing already, play through it again. There's also a hidden mode that I've not been able to activate called Mad Chainsaw mode, but I've never once had it open. I don't know what you need to do to activate it. So I might try and find out what that is, so I can do that as a taster for another thing before the stream happens. But as I say, Naomi, if it's too scary for you to play, you're more than welcome to watch me do the terror by proxy for you, shall we say. And also, I found out from Dragon of the Djima, there's already people that have modded the game. And there's a mod which I looked for, but unfortunately I couldn't find it. And if anyone knows how to get this mod, please let me know, because I will do a playthrough of it. Someone has modded the game so that all the enemies have been turned into the Teletubbies. Is there anything more terrifying than the thought of the Teletubbies coming after you with axes and knives and chainsaws? That is the ultimate nightmare creepypasta fuel. The only way it could possibly be worse is if Dr. Salvador was modded to be like Mr. Blobby. So you had the Teletubbies and Mr. Blobby. That would be the scariest game in history. Forget Silent Hill, forget any of the other games. Being hunted by the Teletubbies and Mr. Blobby. For anyone born in the 90s in the UK, that has you running in terror. So we've beaten the Delta Integrale, so what do we get for this car then? What prize do we unlock? We've already got the Cadillac Cheyan, which look very nice indeed. So what's this? Oh, it's the Toyota RSC Raid Rally car. This is the car that everyone grinded to get money. This car here sells for $250,000 credits. This was the credit grind on Gran Turismo 4. And it looks really angry. Look at its front grille. Let's spin around one more time. This is one of the angriest looking cars I've ever seen. Let's circle back around one more time and check out its grille and its headlights. It is proper scowling at us. This car is mad. It does not want us to drive it. We have Exetel coming jumping in saying hiya. Good evening to you. How are you doing, Exetel? How have you been? They're saying I was going to watch you were going to do a stream the other night, but unfortunately I didn't see it in time. Otherwise I would have watched. It's a real shame that I didn't catch that. But how are you doing? Ooh, the George Paris. If this is Opera Paris, then we'll do this one too. Yes, we've got a race in Paris. City Street Challenge where the winner will be congratulated through Etoile. How do you pronounce that in French? Etoile. Etoile? I don't know. Oh, no, Avian. No. That car did not want to speak to the manager. It is not a Karen. You heard me. It's not a Karen. Don't you dare. Oh, we got a 1982 Audi Quattro. Very nice car. Group B Classic. Ah, that's understandable, Exetail. I completely get it. Right, I don't know this circuit. I've never seen this circuit before. This is interesting. Oh, we've got major slowdown here, people. That was horrendous slowdown. That was where, yeah, my system cannot handle Paris at night. Oh my god, this is almost unplayable. This is not your thing. Do not adjust your set. This is one track that the system is struggling to emulate. The emulator is working overtime here, people. I may very briefly have to turn the settings down. Yeah, because this is absolutely undrivable. Bear me a second, people. I do apologise. This is absolutely undrivable. So I'm just going to have to very quickly, for this one particular level, I'm going to have to put it back to a much lower resolution. I do apologise, people. This won't be as smooth, but needs must. We're going to try again, people. We're going to try again. See, look at the difference. Wow, this is actually a very cool circuit. I actually really like the design of this. I've never seen this track before. I do not remember driving this circuit, but what a fun track. This is a proper little whippet circuit where it's all about can you get into the corners. So yeah, so I've knocked this down, unfortunately, people, down to a measly 720p for a moment, because I think it was struggling to render all the lights and all the detail. Evidently, this was one circuit that it was just like, nah, nothing we can do. Italel. Ah, so that's how you pronounce it. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Thank you for that, Exetail. I did Spanish in high school. And of course, nowadays I know Japanese, so it's completely different. Yeah, look at the difference here, people. Evidently, even with my ridiculous 32 gigabytes of DDR RAM, the emulator cannot run this circuit in 4K. It's simply not got the potential to do it. This is actually an awesome circuit. As a driving experience, I really like this. It's a constant feeling of corners, but it doesn't feel contrived. And I'm loving the atmosphere and the lights and the crowd. This is one of the best circuits I've ever seen. And I do not remember driving it. I simply do not remember it, but all the detailing in the background is gorgeous. The speed is fantastic. The corners are a great mix between really tight, nippy little bends and very open, fast sweepers. This is one of the best tracks I've driven in a long time. This is fantastic. It might be short, but I don't bloody care. This is fun. Oh, we got a penalty. We're crawling over the line. And while we do a quick onto the results screen, I'm going to very quickly once more turn back to the settings so I can change the resolution back to what it was. Right, sorry about that, people. As I say, this one circuit, it evidently doesn't like that. But as you say, Avian, the detail, I think, was what failed it. Oh, I've just realised. I've turned the detail back. I've got another event to do, haven't I? I've got two. Sorry, guys, one moment. Apologies. Right, we'll try that again. You want to learn Japanese, do you, Exetel? If you're ever interested in learning Japanese, I'd highly recommend 2 books that you can get. You can get them from the Japan Centre in London, or you can always order them online from Amazon. And it's one simply called Genki 1 and Genki 2. They are used in mostly GCSE and A-level versions of Japanese. By going through all the modules in both books, you'll know about 500 kanji and a lot of the basic conversations. All the things you need. So if you ever find yourself going to Japan and you ever want to just do the basics when you're over there, that's one of the easiest ways to do it. Now, so if you want more information, I can get you photos of the books I've got offline. So if you want to see more of the ones I'm on about, I can show them to you. Oh, it's a Toyota Celica this time. We're up against the Celica GT4. It's a battle of the JDM 4-wheel drive legends, people. It's Toyota Celica versus Nissan Skyline. My money is on the Skyline because I'm driving it. This is a circuit where speed outright isn't everything. It's about cornering. Fortunately for me, the Skyline is one of the best ones. You're planning to go to Tokyo, are you, next year, Joe? Well, in that case, then, yeah. As I say, what I'll do is I'll tell you what I can do, then. I'll actually put a photo into the community tab when the stream is over or sometime tomorrow. I'll get a photo in the community tab. But no worries, Exetel, I'll get you one offline, not a problem at all. So you cannot, they're not the cheapest books, but they're not that expensive either, if you know what I mean. You're not talking like 80 quid books. They are ones that you can get quite easily. Oh, just about stopped going into the wall then. Very nice, very neatly trimmed it. As you can see, by turning the settings down, we've now got less slowdown. Because that beginning slowdown was absolutely unplayable. It's one of the dangers of streaming when you're doing things from PC. You can get slowed down. But at least with PC you can fix it. Unlike if you're one of the people who plays Cyberpunk 2077. Too soon? I'd say this is an absolute joy to drive, this circuit. I really like this circuit. I say it might be short, but it's a very nippy, very open, very relaxing stage. Even with all the lights and the detail and everything else, I'm not finding myself put off. And again, I won't say it's not a challenging circuit, but it is very forgiving. So it gives you a lot of options for like shaving seconds off your lap time. In fact, in many ways, it feels like I'm playing one of the stages from Metropolis Street Racer on Sega Dreamcast. Because this is what MSR was like. Basically, streets of San Francisco, London, and Tokyo. And they just basically closed off roads and you went down the roads. One of my favourite racing games, that Metropolis Street Racer. One day I might do a stream of that because I've got a Dreamcast emulator and it runs absolutely perfectly. So that'll be a very long but fun series to do, because some of the features in that game are unique to it. It's the only game I know of where it uses your calendar to actually simulate daylight savings. So in the winter in London, you drive at night a lot more than the daytime, and in the summer, you barely see nighttime in certain parts of the game. It's brilliant. It's the only racing game I know of that has that feature. Right, so now that I've got the settings out of the way, I'm going to very quickly go back to the splash screen one more time. Just while I quickly change the graphics settings back to the ones I've been running in. Because normally I use 4K. But for that stage, it was just too much for the emulator to handle. So the George V Rally, which was very, very nice. And the question is, what car have we unlocked? Have we unlocked a car? Ooh, the Alpine A310 1600 VE from 1973. Wow, that's a very unusual car, isn't it? Look at that. That's actually really, really stylish. I love the glazed over headlights and everything else. That's a very unusual design. I like that. And that could be useful because there are some European events. So this is the thing I'm trying to do. I'm trying to see if I can get any cars which are from other areas. I've not got any snow tyres, but I do have dirt tyres. Oh, a wet race at Scuba. Okay, we've got a wet race. I'm not used to this. I've never driven this one. This is the Scuba circuit in rainy conditions to really separate. Oh, that's not aged well, has it? Look at who he's saying is separating. You can tell this game was released in the early 2000s. Those kind of phrases have aged like sour milk. I'm up against the Mazda RX-8. That's rear-wheel drive, whereas I'm four-wheel drive. So I should, in theory, function better. So what's happened is Japan has had a very heavy rainfall here, but it looks like the rain has stopped, and the drivers now are trying to clear away the moisture. Now, there is one problem. I'm sure I'm on slick tyres. Dorito? What do you mean by Dorito, Joe? I've no idea what the braking distances are in the wet, so I'm just relying on pure power to pull away. I can definitely feel the difference in the grip, but this part of the circuit doesn't look wet. It is, but it doesn't look it. Ah, the RX-8's engine, yes, of course. The rotary engine. Also known as the Wankel engine. And no, I'm not swearing. That's its actual name. It's the only car I know of that's rear-wheel drive that has zero torques. It doesn't generate torque. It's weird. I don't know if this is a solitary event or if we've got any more to come, so let's basically try and get over the checkered flag line. But we're not doing too badly actually. The four-wheel drive at the Skyline is certainly helping here. This car won in the license test and it's actually served me very, very well indeed. That and the Mercury Cougar. They've both been good cars. But of course, on this one I'm trying where possible to not use any cars other than prize cars. And that's why I've come into the special conditions tonight. I wanted to see if I could get some more cars unlocked. It's weird, isn't it? The RX-8 had a lot of reliability problems. Mazdas normally were pretty reliable, same as Subarus, but they seem to have lost their way a bit as they've gone into the modern era. They've not quite kept the bulletproof reliability. Like Toyota were known for that, and they've gone through some major problems. So with Nissan, we've got a Skyline. Gran Turismo Skyline has dominated that event. So the question is, what do we get for it? Other than 5,000 credits. We get... Let's see. Let's find out. Ah, ironically a Mazda RX-8. We've got the RX-8 Concept Type 1. So we've got the concept car version of the RX-8. So the question is, do I have any other, like, road stages that I can use it for? Ah, there's a normal version of the Rally d'Umbria. 10,000 credits this time. Let's give it a try. Let's give this one a try, because this is normal difficulty rather than easy. So the question is, what car are we going to come up against? Oh, Mitsubishi Lancer Evo. Here we go. It's two Japanese four-wheel drive Titans. And that guy's throwing up his arms in the back there. To be fair to the crowd, the animations on them are pretty decent. The textures are horrible, but the animations are really great. Okay. So the question is, can I get by the Evo without crashing into him? Yes, I can. So that's a good start. This time I've avoided crashing there, so that's already an improvement. Ah, good spot. Yeah, I didn't notice that, Joe. The 3-lap version. So the races are getting longer and the opponents are getting more challenging. I like that. That's proper difficulty. Obviously, you got more time to catch up when you got more laps, but at the same time, if they are in much better machinery, they also have the same advantage. I'm sure the Italian governors are very unhappy at us, like thrashing cars with such speed around their pristine, privileged walls. Ah, that makes sense, Joe. Yeah, that does make sense. I say I don't know how many more of these we're going to do. It depends on what cars we get, because obviously I want to get access to some of the other events by cars. I thought I'd stopped in time to avoid the penalty there, but I did not. That's annoying. Never mind. Aiming to shave the walls, because that's where you gain time. For those of you aiming to get the golden license test for these stages, that's what you have to do. You also have to abuse wall riding. That's what people don't tell you in the guides. That's totally not how I got the golds. Oh no. I definitely didn't wall ride or cheat at all, people. No. It's like, this stage is beautiful. I really like it. Joe, you see, the cars that I want, it's just wants to get into the events, because basically on the last stream we were struggling where a lot of the events were like, you know, either the power wasn't there to compete with the other ones, or they were the wrong nationality, or the wrong weight, wrong size. There's loads of tournaments we've not done. Like in the European stage, for example, we've not got many of those started. The Japanese events were pretty much done on. So it's about getting access to other, but essentially give ourselves a chance to build up the percent completion. I want to eventually unlock the endurance events, and then from there we can have some serious fun. The endurance events, as the name suggests, are all about endurance. So final lap coming up. Here we go. I mean, I'll be honest, this car, the Skyline, I'm absolutely loving driving it. It's one of my favourite cars. So if I was like, 1, the possessor of a driving licence, and 2, the possessor of a lot of money, I would have one. I would buy one for real. An R34 GTR V-Spec. That's what I want. Colour doesn't matter. I'd even have it in hot pink. I don't care. I would have it in the most embarrassing colour in the world, because all I know is that behind the wheel I would have the widest grin there is. Oh dear. Can't get a penalty when you've already got a penalty. That is one advantage, actually. You can potentially abuse the penalties if you're careful. If you get one in the right location, you actually have better grip through the corners. Oh, nicely parked. Just about got away with that. And so for those of you asking why I'm using bumper cam, it's because I like to get very close to the walls where I can. And I don't like the bonnet cam on this, or the hood cam, depending on which part of the world you're from. I just find it not very reliable. Plus, by having less assets on screen, it should mean a smoother experience for the viewer. Unless, of course, we're on the George Parry 5 at night, where there's too much detail to render. Okay, so that's part 1. So what's part 2? I need to also check what our completion is, because I say the endurance events unlock at 25%. Whether we're going to get to that tonight, I don't know. We're probably not going to do an endurance event tonight, because I'm in the office tomorrow morning, so that's not going to happen. But it will be something we might be able to do on the next stream. Might be in the keyword. Right, so, yeah, now we're up against another Evo. It's the Evo 6. Oh, it's in pearl white. That's a classic look. For those of you fans of Tommy Mackinnon or Richard Burns, you might be familiar with that shape of rally car. There's Tommy Mackinnon. I think he's the only world champion I've ever heard of that won the title by getting a phone call. I think it was in 1999. He was out of the final rally, gone to the airport, and then Carlos Sainz Sr., his Toyota broke down 150 yards from the finish line, and he was out of the rally. And because of that, Tommy Mackinnon won. To this day, that must have been the most gutting experience in the world. He put up a fight then. I'm actually quite impressed. Yeah, that's right. I think it was Group A. Yeah, Group A was before they went down to Group C. Oh, what the hell? I took off and I got a penalty because I rubbed the wall, which I'm not surprised about, to be honest. You get penalties for crashing in this mode, and it's... I can't exactly deny there was any contact with the building there, can I? What do you mean I crashed into the building? There's only 5 windows broken. Some teacut will fix that. Yeah, no, it's not going to wash. The officials are going to penalise you for that. Yeah, that was good times actually, right? Yeah, you had the Escort, the Impreza, the Toyota Corolla, you had the Mitsubishi Lancer. Wasn't there like some weird ones as well, like a Vauxhall or a Saab or something like that? I know the Saab back in the day with the 99 had a car that was so strong it had to have a roll cage because of the regulations, but it actually didn't need it because the Swedes literally made it like a tank. Oh, ow. I felt that from here and I wasn't even in the car for real. Oh! And now I've got the Evo badge tattooed to my spine. That was a rear end shunt and a half. The AI in this game getting quite aggressive. You get in the way of their racing line, they will absolutely smash you. Right, I'm going to have to hit the brakes here, because this is where I took off last time. Yes, the 206, driven by Marcus Gronholm, I believe. That was a good car, yeah. But it's interesting, Naomi. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but Top Gear did a feature on Saab where they kind of agree with you. Apparently, at one point for the Saab 9.5, GM, who owned them, were wondering why they were losing so much money. So some guy comes over to the States, to Stockholm, and after getting out of the airport, he gets into a Saab, and the sat-nav is like, this isn't one of our sat-nav systems. And it turned out that Saab had basically gone, yeah, yours isn't good enough, so we made our own, a load of money. Now, you see, what the intelligent car manufacturer should have done at that point was gone, hold on a second, we've got a car company who are all about pushing technology, leading the market, having a very nice European style and aiming at executives. Why don't we make this brand our rival to Mercedes and BMW? Why don't we encourage them to go even more crazy and make cars that are like a level above any other GM car? Instead, they shut them down. You're not wrong actually saying the 206 was that fast because of Marcus Gronholm. Something about the rally drivers in that era, they were absolutely nuts. You had Tommy Mäkinen, you had Juha Kankkunen, you had Marcus Gronholm. They were all crazy. Colin McRae. I think every last one of them, all they wanted to do was either go fast or crash. I mean, Marcus Gronholm, to be fair, in the 206 are one of my favourite rallying stories ever. He was in the UK, and he had a crash. And the wheel was like buckled at 90 degree on the back. So he's trying to drive it to the service station between the stage and the rally. He's on a British road. Cops pull him over. And he's like, sorry sir, you can't drive your car, right? You're not allowed to go any further. And Marcus Gronholm's like, I am world champion, I defend championship, I get in car and I drive. And the cops go, you get in that car and drive, and I'll be arresting you and taking you to prison, mate. So that's ironically how Marcus Gronholm ended his championship defence one year. The British police stopped him. Literally the fun police got in his way. That actually happened. I can't remember what year it was. In other countries, the police would have given them a major escort and done a big PR stunt out of it, saying, when your machine fails you, the emergency services will get you here there. In Britain, park up, give me the keys, and get out. So what have we got for winning the normal version of the Costa di Amalfi? The car we've unlocked is... Oh, yes. Oh, what a thing of beauty. The Lancia Delta Integrale. One of the greatest rally cars of all time with the Martini livery. What a legend. One of my favourite cars. Absolutely gorgeous. Meanwhile, can we take on any more of the But I do actually have some dirt tyres, so I can take on the dirt tyre events as well. In fact, let's go to the Grand Canyon. Let's do the rally of the Grand Canyon. I do have dirt tyres, I'm sure of it. Oh, actually, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Oh, never mind. It's too late now. I've already answered. Right, I'll tell you what. I'm just doing a quick state save, just in case of a problem with the emulator. Oh, it's another Renault 5 Turbo. But this time we're on dirt. And we have a grid start. Come on, get out of my way. Right, this is where the Skyline is very much out of its element. Being a touring car, that's fine. Being a rally car off-road, not so fine. It has all the power in the world, but can it put that power down? No, it can't, and the Renault 5 is keeping up with it. The Renault 5 is like, you might have a lot of power, but I've got a lot of pace. And I think this is going to be out of control. Just mowed some people down. Oh God, this is rough. Even with dirt tyres on, I am struggling in this car. This car is not designed for this. This is not what I'm supposed to be doing with this car. I'm supposed to be taking on the Tokyo Expressway. I'm supposed to be running down mountain roads. I'm not supposed to be literally on a mountain. So that Renault 5 is doing a fantastic job. He's there going, he's got too much power. He can't get the power down. You don't need more than 300 brake horsepower on a dirt track like this. And I agree with him. I might have dirt tyres, but it doesn't mean I've got grip. By the way, I will say the license test in the S license for this to get gold is very, very hard. It is incredibly difficult. I'm trying to employ the old approach of look where I'm going out the side window here. and not hit the walls too hard. If you hit the walls too hard, you get a penalty. And we don't want penalties, especially when the Renault 5 is keeping up with me so well. I don't think I'm going to be taking on the normal challenges in this car. I think I'll get a better car that's better suited to it. Still, the locals are being treated to something unusual. It's not often you see a skyline on dirt like this. Get off the track! Well, what is this? Is this rally driving from the 80s? This is what it was like in the 1980s, with people coming on the track trying to touch the cars. It's like, get out of my way! This is dangerous! Oh god, that's poor. Engine died then. I think it doesn't help that I've got the wrong box for this. Yeah, you're getting Group B vibes from this, Joe. You're not wrong. Especially with that Renault 5 in there. That's from the right era, isn't it? 1980. The videos from the 1980s rallying is terrifying to watch. Some of the stuff they did was, like, absolutely crazy. Like, there's stories of drivers like the likes of the Peugeot 205 and the Audi Quattro pulling into the services and finding blood on the side of the car and people's fingers. Literal fingers that have been torn off by the car. Yeah, I've got what's known as a long box in this car, and it's not designed for rallying. In rallying, you want a short box, low RPM, fast changes of gear. Yes, that's true actually, Joe. You're not wrong actually. The Escort RS200, wasn't it? Ploughed off circuit into the fans and hurt a lot of people. Then there was also the driver deaths as well, like the Lancia Delta S4, one of the deadliest cars in the world. And say like the safety of rallying has come on ridiculous leaps and bounds, and people moan about it, saying, "Oh, it's mollycoddling." No, actually, it's keeping lives, it's saving lives. No one, whether it's a driver or a fan or a marshal, should ever feel like they're going to be killed. It can happen, and it's tragic, and it should be a rare anomaly. It shouldn't be commonplace. And that was the problem with Group B rallying. It got too common. This is a very, very long lap, this. This feels like an endurance by itself. And the problem is, much like with the Nürburgring, it all looks the same. So you're never quite sure what you're going into. Coupled with the fans coming onto the thing to distract you. Seriously, get off the track! I don't think I can actually hit them, but that's not the point. Yes, I do not condone getting onto a track during an event. If you go onto a track, be it a racetrack or a rally track, while an event is happening, you are an imbecile. Do not do it. Yes, that's Henry Toivonen. Yeah, as I said, that was the crash in Corsica, which to this day no one really knows what happened. All they know is that the drivers behind them, and I think it would, were they in the Quattro? They might have been in either the Quattro or one of the Toyota, or actually it might have been the Opel Manta. But one of the drivers of that car literally came across it on fire, and it was, it doesn't bear thinking about. It simply doesn't. Nice when you've been sorting your latter part of your Arista, Jack. Well, we're about to take a Nissan Skyline up against the Delta Integrale. This is not going to go well. The Delta is going to thrash me. Or at least it should do. I have to try and power into the lead because that's literally my only advantage. They say, unfortunately, this car is not really a rally car, it's a touring car. And I've bolted on some dirt tyres and taken it completely out of its element. It'd be like trying to go rally driving in a Bugatti or in a Bentley. Technically possible because it's four-wheel drive, but it wouldn't really work. It's not designed for it. It's not designed for taking on dirt stages. I like the fact they've simulated the ambulance at the side of the circuit there. I think that's pretty awesome. It's not usually you see the emergency vehicles in games of this era. It's nice that they've actually thought to include them. And you're not wrong, Garrister Jack. I mean, I say this feels very much like they're trying to simulate rally driving in the 80s. Because the 80s fans used to do that. They used to go on circuit. You can find videos. If you go and search videos of, like, the Audi Quattro, Finland, for example, or the Toyota Celica, you go and find any of those classic rally driving clips, and you'll see the fans. It's ridiculous. It's the most dangerous thing you'll see. Oh my god, what the... That had all the buoyancy of a cathedral, but somehow I managed to keep it on the road. Got a recovery vehicle there at the side of the road. That's pretty awesome. Oh my god, a Ferrari Enzo doing the WRC. Wow! Whoever drove that must be the craziest driver in the world. The amount of power in an Enzo. Rear-wheel drive on a rally stage. Whoever was driving that car is a driving god. That's incredible. Feeling very shaky and bouncy, and I don't know if that's the emulator or the track. I get the feeling it's the track because this car's not designed for it. What type of stage was it, Joe? 'Cause it sounds like the kind of thing I'm going to have to check out. Was it a dirt stage? Was it a gravel stage? Was it like the Corsica Rally tarmac stages? What kind of stage was it? I've not worked so hard in a car in a while. I feel like I've worked really, really hard to get this round the circuit. Swishbone very much is not on it. I can assure you of that. I am not on it in the slightest. Oh, I got a massive, massive tank slapper then, but somehow I held it together. Ugh. Yeah, I'm testing the panel beaters here with this one. I'm testing how strong the panels are, and if there's any gaps in the membrane. Still, the good thing is we've managed to actually pull away from the Lancia somehow. Onto the jumps. Still, I've got to say, as dangerous as this is, the most dangerous thing I've ever done is taking a ride in a tuk-tuk in Bangkok. Nothing redefines terror until you've done that. The guys who drive those tuk-tuks are absolute nutters. They are crazy. Bear in mind, the crumple zone is literally your spine, because you're sat on a sofa. So if someone rear-ends you in one of those, yeah, good luck. I'll definitely look for it. I'll run a search for it. I'm sure I can find it. If I run a search for Ferrari Enzo Rally, it'll turn up. We might make it, people. I think we're going to make it. Yes! That went better than I thought it would. In fact, the Renault 5 actually put up a better fight. That's a surprise. Yes, see, this car is really not designed for rallying, is it? Look at that. That's not a rally car. That's not designed as a rally car. And yet, it still managed to blitz into the lead and lead on from there. Now, let's just take a quick look at the replays. Just show you how they look. They actually look absolutely gorgeous, don't they? You see a vast disparity in lines there between the Delta Integrale and the Skyline. Mainly because the Skyline, the driver of the Delta Integrale, knows what he's doing. No worries. You have a good night, Maris Jack. Good chatting to you, mate. Take care of yourself. Have a good sleep. And yes, I just think it's that. Oh, yeah, there we are. That's why that barrier came up. I wondered why that was there. Oh, these do look fantastically well, and at times like that, it does actually look like I know what I'm doing. This is what you miss when you're seeing it on board, people. It does look fantastic. Considering this game came out in the year 2005, this looks beautiful. Okay, yes, some of the textures in the background are very flat and very moist and everything else, but in general, it looks great. You've got the nice gravel being kicked up by the dust clouds. It looks brilliant. You have the all-wheel steer and all-wheel drive of the Nissan Skyline doing something it's not really meant to do. And we will leave it there, I think. So with that in mind, as you say, Naomi, yeah, a lot of attention went into these games. It's really, really good. It's a shame that the modern one's nowhere near as good. And the car we've got is... Oh! Oh, yes! The Ford RS200 from 1984. What a stunner. That car is beautiful. Look at that front grille. Looks like the cutesiest thing in the world. It will bite your hand off. That is a beauty of a machine. Alright, so let's quickly go back. Yeah, we've now got Superpower wet in the circuits. And now let's quickly pop back to our home. So we're now at 20.2% completion as a result of this. And let's say we got ourselves quite a few nice new cars. Got some random ones as well, obviously. So there it is. The RS200. And then there's the Cadillac Cian, which has got 760 horsepower. 760? Wow. Let's give it a let's take this beauty for a ride. The supercar. Oh, production cars only. Ah, oh, for God's sake. I thought I had a car that qualified. That's so annoying. I thought I had a car that was going to fit. Whereas that one, the World Compact, it needs to be 4,000 millimeters or less. Have I got any cars that are 4,000 millimeters or less? None of those will be. Right, what about the Ford RS200? It doesn't tell me. Ooh! Ironically, that might fit. Let's give it a try. It said 4,000, but I don't know if that's going to count. Yes, it counts. All cars permitted, and there's nothing about. It says standard or sports tyres required. Right, let's put a little bit of power into it. Let's take it back to Ford. So I can't change the tyres. That's one thing I can't. Well, I can, but I can only have racing. I can only have sports tyres. Let's put a bit more power into it. Yeah, that ups it by 8 brake horsepower. Yeah, we definitely want racing brakes. I've got to be careful I don't spend too much money on this. I mean, obviously, if I need money for upgrades, I can always grind the Toyota RSC Raid Rally car. That's one easy way to get around it. Now I know how easy that is to unlock. So that's fine. Engine. Is it going to be naturally aspirated? Nope, it's a turbo one. Okay. Right, I don't think... That's a good point, actually. Can I change the oil? I forgot about that. I always forget about that. The GT Auto special. Let's take it to the mechanic. I don't know if it's going to make a difference now because I've already fitted a part, but it's only going to cost me 50 credits, so I might as well. Nice little jazz music. It's frustrating that we had a car that has easily enough horsepower to make it into the race. And then it's like, yeah, you can't use that. It's alright. Well, it was 258, and we've now got 271. So yes, we have actually gained some extra power. Awesome. But I'm not done there. I'm not done. Absolutely not. Right, we can put a stage 2 would get us 355. A stage 3 would get us 426. Screw it, we're going big. We're going big. We might as well. And then suspension. Let's get a racing one in there because we can. So the only thing we can't do is use racing tyres. It must be standard or sports. So we're going to get some sports tyres on there. We should already have mediums. We do. So I'm going to get some softs as well. This will still feel quite awkward to drive because of the sports tyres. So I don't want to put too much any extra bits onto the car. So for now, we'll leave it there. And go to the lightweight tournament. Yep, here we are, the World Compact Car Series. And it's going to be a tournament. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4... We've got 5 races. Seattle, Skibar, Grand Valley, Hong Kong and Twin Rim Motegi. Good variety of circuits. Let's see how the car holds up. Now we can qualify, but looking at the cars we're up against, I'm not expecting it to be something we'll need to do. One of them's a Fiat Punto. Yeah, I get the feeling I'm going to outclass this quite easily. They've all turned up in family hatchbacks. I've turned up in a racing car. I have literally turned up to a play fight with an MMA world champion on my back. For those who did it in Gran Turismo 7, what I'm doing here is the equivalent of taking the Dodge SRT Tomahawk to the Tokyo Expressway. And if you did that credit grind, you know what I'm on about. You can't do it anymore because Polyphony decided to mess around with the PP performance and make it much more difficult to do, which is so frustrating. Yeah, this car, it's a bit of a cheat using it, to be honest. This is revenge for the computer using that Buick tuning car in the muscle car tournament. And it drives beautifully, actually, this car. It drives very well. I won't say it's on rails, but it's not far off it. It feels gorgeous, although I hate the sound of the engine. The engine sounds horrendous. In fact, it's so smooth, I've actually still not got the cold shine off my tyres after nearly a full lap, so it'd be good for tyre life. So if there's any like mid-level endurance races, this could be a car to use, purely to keep out of the pits. Yeah, I'm a bit overpowered in this event, it must be said. In terms of how to beat the game with prize cars, this is one of the easier ones. That was so smooth to drive then. That was absolutely planted. It's almost like I don't have to think to get around the corners. I've not driven a car where I've felt so in control on sports tyres. Sports tyres, you normally feel like you're driving on ice and you're going to fall away at any moment. In this car, it's like I'm driving on slicks. It's beautiful. And if the car drives like this on the tarmac, I wonder what it's like on the dirt. This could be a good car to use in the rally events. Although I'm hoping there's a racing modified version of it, the actual proper one. The only thing I will say is it doesn't feel that strong on as an accelerating car, but it corners so beautifully. Can't quite take that flat. The tyres don't have the grip to turn in at high speed, but that's okay. We're so far in front, we're not having to worry about anything like that anyway. Say the rules are very clear. 4,000 millimeters. This car complies. I thought outside the box. I reckon the Lancia Stratos would also comply with this, because that's a very short wheelbase car. I think, from memory. That's really short. Jeremy Clarkson described it as having the steering wheel in front of the driver and the pedals in front of the passenger. Because it was so weirdly designed, that car. But then again, that's Lancia for you. Yep, this is looking solid so far. Looking very solid indeed. Many had asked if I'm compliant with the spirit of the rules, to which I say there is no such thing. I'm compliant with the rules, that's all I care about. I mean, looking at that, a tyre to fit, a Honda Fit, a tyre to Volt, a Mercedes A1600, a Fiat Punto. They're not exactly cars that are going to compete with the Ford RS200, are they? Let's be honest here. Still, decent amount of credits, I'm happy with that. Onward we go to the next race. And we're at Spa for 5 laps. We've clocked up 7 miles so far in this car, people. The mile march is on. Thank you for the slipstream. And thank you for the puns. I needed that. Oh, we've gone a bit wide there. Let's skid it off. Because I was about to T-bone the Honda and I didn't want to do that. Yep, there we go. So you can see where these games didn't quite have the balancing right in terms of making it so cars were completely non-dominant. By setting it so you could only have a certain wheelbase limit, they got so focused on that, it didn't have any kind of balance of performance. In the more modern games you would have that. It'd be like you can only have so much horsepower, or you can only have certain types of tyres, or it must be from a certain period or of a certain class. And I understand that's what in GT7 they do with certain sports events, or at least the different times that I played it before I stopped. So you can definitely see where that part has got a bit more modern. Here, being able to overpower events like this, it's a bit unreasonable. It's like with the Skyline in the special events on the tarmac tracks. The Skyline was absolutely overpowered and was literally dominating everything. Admittedly, it wasn't very good in the dirt because it's not a rally car, but it certainly held its own. I think that's why people like to do challenges on these games. No, I haven't seen that video. There's such an Amy that rolled over in Monaco. Wow, I mean, I bet that wasn't a good experience. That on the most recent WRC event. Because I know they use the mountains above the city of Monaco for rallying, and it's quite an old school circuit in that respect, and I imagine it's pretty ruthless. I've seen quite a few videos of cars that have gone over and barrel rolled in rallying. They always look spectacular, but also horrifying at the same time. So, I mean, unfortunately, motorsport is dangerous, and these kind of things can happen, but it's still not something we actually want to see. You get the morbid idiots online who say it's the best part, but those people aren't real motorsport fans. The real motorsport fans are like, oh my god, this is really serious, everyone's alright. Well, so he just took the corner and it topped over. Was it like the centre of gravity just like pulled it over? If that's the case, then that's a massive design flaw from the car. I know that people did that often in 4x4s, the likes of Range Rovers. People trying to swerve out of the way of accidents and barrel roll because they got it wrong. Because the cars are very top heavy and they're not really fully weighted properly. Yeah, ironically, a British double-decker bus is incredibly difficult to roll over. Despite being 2 stories high and designed to carry 73 passengers, actually making one roll over onto its side is incredibly difficult. Tom Chilton, the touring car driver, tried to do it in a special event for Top Gear, and he couldn't get it over no matter how many times he tried. Andy jumping in the chat, he's saying that the Amy flipping with no contact with an external object is worrying. I agree, it's a very bad design flaw. I think let's say the first Range Rovers did it, and certain, I think it might have been the first version of the Porsche Cayenne as well. The cars were literally like they were on stilts, so they just tip over. It sounds pretty grim, especially if it nearly hit pedestrians. No one wants to see that. Citroen, sort your cars out. Recall them, redesign them. So, are you all about tonight, Andy, or just in general where you say a bus driver looked like they tried to flip it over? I mean, I don't know if you hit the right contact patch, you possibly could, but when Tom Chilton tried it, he even hit an elevated curb, and it still didn't flip the bus. He ended up getting pushed over by another touring car driver in a single decker. Crashed into him on purpose, and that's how they tipped it over. Yes, the Ford RS200 is a bit overpowered in this event. The lightweight compact car cup. Yes, Avian, exactly, nearly lapping them. This car is OP, considering we only had a few laps as well. It just shows how broken the car I've chosen is, which is nothing new, to be fair, is it? How many times have you seen my streams where I've taken advantage? Grand Valley East reverse. Oh, okay, we're going old school. Oh, wow, so battered the curve 3 times, taking you back tonight, dude. I hope you're okay, because that sounds pretty nasty. I've heard of trying to keep to your schedule, but don't try killing your passengers to do it, please. If any bus drivers are watching the stream. Thank you for that. Yes, I am being that motorway driver. I've not driven this layout since Gran Turismo 2. So this is going to be interesting. Because I can't remember the last time I drove it. I would say it was sometime playing GT2. This car is beautiful to drive. Absolutely awesome. Still needed to brake for that corner. I thought I could get around it flat. I couldn't. Oddly enough, these guys are not like falling away from me as much as on the last race, but we will see as the race goes on. Oh, I've gone too deep. Yeah, went way too deep there, into the gravel. Cold tyres and a poor racing line equals off. The poor racing line being the much bigger contributing factor there, people. I'm not going to be a racing driver and blame my tyres for that one. Nice. And we'll get a little kiss of the brake this time. Yep, that'll do. That's better. Whoa! Nice little rally drift there. Not the fastest way around the corner, but it felt fun. I don't think we're going to lap them this time, Avian. I don't think we're quite that fast. Oh, wow. I mean, you should take the compliments where you can, Andy, at the end of the day. And to be fair, you can't possibly drive worse than I can, because I can't drive at all. I've only ever driven a car once, and that was in Thailand, when I was at a theme park. And they had like an off-road buggy car. Automatic, and I drove it like a complete nutter. I almost hit a tree, hanging on the ragged edge, lifting off the accelerator rather than braking. Yeah, but I was a complete nuisance. I was uninsured. I'd never driven a car before. I wasn't wearing a crash helmet. It was dangerous. But did I have fun? Oh yes. Oh yes, I did. Certain countries seem to have looser regulations about what you can and can't do. I'm amazed that I wasn't like sent back to the UK for some kind of major crime infringement for that. But I wasn't complaining. Yeah, the gears on this, the gear ratios are too long. I need to get the gearbox changed and change the gear ratios. Yeah, okay, final lap, we're doing good. Slight lift this time rather than brake because I can. Oh, we're still going grass track driving, but we made it. And then onto the brakes. Yeah, I missed the apex by a few millimeters there. That's probably about half a second of time. Oh no. Anyway. Because why not? Hey, computer, don't crash my car. What are you doing, computer? The computer just managed to drive worse than me. How? How is that possible? Oh, what a horrible noise that is. Thank you for stopping. Avi, you say you drove once and you were enticed to get a license, but you've not managed to succeed. I need to get a license. I have a driveway. I'd like to have a car parked on it. Even if it's a total shed, I want a car. Of course, I've got to be able to learn to afford to run a car and pass my test and everything else involved. Oh, 4 laps of Hong Kong reverse. This will be quite a long race, this one. And we're under lights here in the centre of Hong Kong. The city-state. Some beautiful low-res ships in the background there. Nothing I can do about those people. It's later been rendered. Oh, I think I've just rear-ended a car on the way through. I did. I've crashed before I've even had control of the car. Am I really that much faster than the computer? The answer is yes. Yes, I am. So this is a beautifully detailed circuit, this. I don't know how accurate it is to Hong Kong, because I've never been, but it's still awesome. I say I did get invited to a wedding in Hong Kong, but it was just at the wrong time, so I couldn't go. It's a shame, really. It would have been lovely. I'd love to have gone. That is one tight hairpin, that. You love Hong Kong, do you, Joe? I say I've never been, so I can't comment on it, but it does look amazing from all the things I've seen. The only time I've technically seen anything properly of it, apart from this game, is when I played Shenmue 2. It doesn't say anything about my skills, Naomi. It says everything about the computer's skills. You saw how badly it drove at Grand Valley East trying to reverse away from the wall, and now it's managed to rear-end somebody before I've even started the race. It says everything about the computer. It says nothing about me. Don't be insulting my driving. I mean, there's plenty to insult my driving about, but it's not because of that. Yeah, I do love Asia, actually, Joe. As I say, I've been to Japan, I've been to Thailand, I've been to China, and it's awesome just to get out there and see a totally different world to what we're used to over here in the West. Say Japan's amazing. I highly recommend Japan to anybody. Nippon ga daisuki da yo. Oh, I've definitely influenced the game. You're not wrong on that point, Naomi. I mean, look at that for driving. That was poor. That was sloppy. Why was it sloppy? Because I wasn't watching the track when I went to the turn. That's why. I'm loving the low-res coastline we've got to the right there, by the way, people. It's incredibly low-res because we're not meant to see it. But thanks to the emulator and the upscaling, we can actually see what's back there. And it's amazing how many assets they've put out there, to be honest. I'm actually quite quietly impressed. Most of them tried to hide it with like smog or cloud cover or something. Nope, they've got it on full display. Oh, that's a... not sure what happened there, to be honest. Don't matter, we made it, we're through, we're safe. Oh, nice! Off-road driving at Alton Park. I've not been to Alton Park since the early 90s when I went to watch the touring cars. That's fantastic. What kind of car did you drive? Oh, that's better. That was a lot faster. That was a lot quicker. I think this is another level that the emulator is struggling to fully run at, because I am getting a few drops. So next time I have a race here, I might drop it down to 720, just so I can guarantee it runs a bit smoother. Let's say we're right near the end of the race now, people, so there's not much point. So it seems that Hong Kong and the George V Parry are tracks that the emulator can't quite cope with, which, to be fair, it's taking a 20-year-old tech and running it in 4K, so I'm kind of impressed it does it anyway. And again, if you are running something not off original hardware, you are going to get visual glitches at some point. It's just the way it works. See there, I felt a bit jutter, about like it was juttering a bit. I get the feeling that's because of the detail in the background. It's struggling to fully render it. So I want to get around that by using the slightly lower resolution settings. You know what car would I get buying a car for real, Andy? I mean, I probably want to start with something that's relatively good as a runner, but at the same time not too difficult to like purchase, insure and maintain. So I'd probably look for something like a Ford Focus or like a Citroen C2, something like that. I'd get a car that runs decent and has all the functionality, and you can use that for a while just to build up some understanding. I'd want something that's not too difficult to handle, and then go from there. Well, again, a lot of it depends on like cost and everything else, doesn't it, at the moment? Because you've seen that, how cars can get ridiculously expensive for no reason. Yeah, Focuses have got a pretty decent reputation. Let's say they've always handled quite well. And the good thing about Focuses is Fords are very common on the UK roads. So getting parts in the event of, repairs is quite a lot easier, so it brings down like second-hand repair costs, and that makes it cheaper to insure. Oh God, Joe, no, I'm not a motorcycle guy. Don't get me wrong, I think they're awesome, I think they sound great, but I don't want to be the guy who goes over the handlebars. You know what I mean? I don't want to be that's what would happen to me. I'd be that guy. Get me a sealed cabin where there's a lot of extra shielding. I have ridden on the back of a motorcycle, and it was exhilarating, I must admit. I do understand why people get addicted to bike riding. There is definitely a huge sense of pizzazz when you're on the handlebars gunning the throttle. Yeah, Toyotas are very good, Andy. They normally are very, very reliable. So while you pay a lot to buy one, maintaining one's normally a lot easier. Right, is the Ford RS200 going to ram into the back of another car? Return to the rally routes there by going off-road. Oh, visual glitch. Major visual glitches. Brief glimpse of Rainbow Road there, people. I do apologise for that. So I still can't believe that classic car race we had on here where that 2CV showed up and we kept lapping it all the time. That was embarrassing. After this event, I want to see if I can get into any of the European events, because I've now got the Alpine along with the Lotus. So it's possible I might be able to have a car that can get me into a few events there. Oh, just about kept it on the island. Only just though, right near the edge of the limits there. This is good. So the Twin Rim Motegi is an interesting circuit. I've always wondered what it'd be like with some faster like cars on it. Because normally I think the fastest you get is like the GT 500s. It'd be nice to see what the like Le Mans prototypes or the Le Mans hypercars, or even the likes of IndyCar, would do around here. Because obviously IndyCar do a round in Japan at the Motegi Super Speedway. So it'd be interesting if they ever did the road course as a second round one time in Asia. But I don't know if they've done that before. Oh, I'm on the brakes way too late there, but oh, just about got away with that. And on the brakes, into the anchors, and yes, fine, no problem at all. So this is a very lonely march to victory so far, but we're not there yet. Let's wait for the checkered flag to fall. We've celebrated prematurely before and paid the price for it. Say this is like unfairly matched. I had no idea that the competition was going to be like this. When it said, like, you know, it was like 4,000mm cars, I was expecting, like, you know, rally cars and things like that, or like early 90s touring cars. To be up against like literally family SUVs, it just feels like I'm being very, very much the fug in the playground. And you know what? I love it. It's great. I get to be the bully for once. I get to be the cheap guy that no one can beat. We're getting there slowly but surely. Just 2 more corners and then we are at the end of this race. And hopefully will mean we've won the championship too, so we can find out if we get a decent car for winning this. I'm guessing not, judging by the fact that we're up against family hatchbacks. I'm expecting something like a Nissan Pixo or something like that. But let's see. But first... Yes, complete domination. Not even close. I could have taken the final 2 rounds of the championship off. But, no, we wanted to win. And now, the big question. What car have we unlocked? Well, first of all, another 30,000 credits. Nice. So we're pretty much back to the amount of credits we were at the start of the stream, which is awesome. Considering we've not sold anything, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty great. So what have we got as our prize? This is the question. Oh! The Honda S800 RSC race car! Oh, wow! That is funky! I love that! That's like 60s AF, that's fantastic! And that is like, what is it? Like, yeah, you need a boxer or so. Oh, so you need an actual estate car, I think, basically, for that one, for the boxer. You need an estate car. Well, there we go. So that has now got us to 21.2 completion. Haha. You think it's cute, do you, Avian? I agree. It's a beautiful looking machine. Looks gorgeous. Meanwhile, I'm just trying to see if there's anything else I can... Oh, it's only got 100 brake horsepower, though. It's quite low on power, but it's got a lot of style. I'll give it that much. Right, what I want to do is quickly go and check any missing events. So in the American events... we're complete. So there's no more American events to do. In the European events, we have the Pan-Euro Championship. It's just literally European cars. Any European car can enter. British GC must be a British car. British lightweight is 1,000 kilos or less, so that's got to be a Lotus. The DTM, no way we're taking that on. No way. Ooh, an Italian car only, Lancia Delta Integrale will work there. And the tours for the 5 race of French cars on European Classic Car League up to 1970. Hot hatch, yeah, we need a like a hatchback car for that. The 1,000 miles, what? Up to 1970. Oh wow, look at the price, the cost for each car. That'll be a long championship, that one. And then German cars. So there's two German cars too. Right, okay. So in that case, then let's go back to my garage. Let's see what we have available. Ooh, British cars. A Lotus Esprit Turbo. That could be good for the British cars one for sure. In fact, how much does that weigh? What's the weight of this car? Oh, it's over 1,000 kilos. It's not going to count. Meanwhile, Zanilton Lima Chicken is saying hello. Good evening to you. How are you doing? Welcome to the stream. We are literally about to decide on which European race to take on. And I think what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to get some sports tyres on my Delta Integrale and enter the Italian races. That's what I'm going to do. Ah, good night. You say Bradil Japaratuba. I'm guessing that's down in South America. I'm guessing with that. Please forgive my ignorance. I would say welcome to the stream. Good evening. Say if you're from Brazil, that's awesome. Yep. It needs to be a production car. Right. Okay. They've seen that one coming. They've gone, haha, cute. No. Yeah. Put your rally car away. You're not allowed to enter that. Get out. Take your rally car and go home. It's not happening. In that case, then, let me get back to my Lotus Esprit. And what I'm going to do is just put a few upgrades into it. Well, before I do, let me quickly double-check the racing criteria. It's the IA. Ugh. Whereas the British lightweight, yeah, you need to be a bit light. The thing is, because it's the IA Championship, and then there's the Pan-European, that might be a better one to go for. We'll start with the Pan-European. But first of all, I want to change the car a bit. Start by changing the oil. Nice little glitch in Gran Turismo 4. If you change your oil, you get an extra 30 or 40 brake horsepower. I say... That's fair enough, you say you don't speak English. I'm gonna say... Me va hablar español. But I understand that Brazil uses Portuguese, and I don't know Portuguese. I'm gonna say I am from Europe, so the only... Ironically, the languages I know are English and Japanese. But... when it comes to like Hispanic languages, I'm afraid that I know very, very little Spanish, and I do not remember any of it. I learned it 25 years ago? So 25? Yes, multiculturalism is something that I need to improve on, it must be said. If you're trying to appeal to all parts of the world, knowing a few languages around there is helpful, to say the least. But I say, Brazil did of course generate one of the greatest drivers of all time, the immortal and iconic Ayrton Senna. R.I.P. to him. Although over here we like to call him Ayrton Senna, thanks to Murray Walker, the legendary British commentator, even though his name is Ayrton, I believe. And of course, it's ironic I'm talking about Ayrton Senna, considering I'm currently in charge of a Lotus. Seeing him thrashing the 99T back in the 1980s as a child, one of my greatest memories. Right, let's get some soft tyres on this baby. We're going to need them. So it said standard or sports tyres, so this is a turbo. We can put it up to 308, 340, or 432. I'm feeling flush, we'll go with 432, why not? And we'll also put a racing intercooler in to get us an extra few horsepower as well. With this, we should be in a decent position with any luck, but let's change the suspension while we can as well. Just spent 100 grand in this race. Just spent 100 grand. I'm feeling flush. So I don't think there is one. Yes, Elise or Lotus Classics, but it's only the Europa or the Elan, neither of which I own. Oh God, Joe, yes, the photo finish. I say, Mansell Senna had some of the greatest jewels in the world. Monaco 1992 being the most iconic of all time. I remember James Hunt, he's like going, and Mansell charging away, trying a lot, Senna looking it down. Mansell weaving this way and that way, but Senna won't let him past. Yes, that is one of my favourite F1 moments, the 1992 Monaco Grand Prix, when Senna was on absolutely destroyed tyres, and instead, what did he... Oh, we got... Right, I get the feeling I'm not going to be able to survive this. A TVR Tuscan and a TVR Chibira, they're going to likely outclass me. I'm going to try it, but I don't think we're going to be able to succeed. We've got quite a few British representatives. We've got two TVRs, a Lotus. Then we've also got the Germans, represented by Roof and Mercedes. Yeah, these cars are a bit too fast for me, it seems. Oh, it doesn't help that I've got the handling of a truck. Yeah, this car is not quite up to it. Sorry, mate, get out of my way. there are 6 laps to this race, so let's see. But this is a championship I might not be able to win. Although that's going to help. That's not exactly clean racing. It's not exactly in the spirit of the rules. But there's no racing flags. There's no penalties. So in that case, I'm happy as a pig in the proverbial. Yeah, this car, it's quite nice to drive actually. It's quite it's old-fashioned fun. That's true actually, yes, you have seen truck races. Don't remind me of the New Year's stream. That was not fun, that particular point. You remember it well. You all chose it. You all chose for me to play truck racing on the PS3 for all the 10 minutes. Because it's all any of us could stand because it was so fucking awful. Okay, we are managing to keep up, so we're going to keep... All I'll say, Joe, is that on the New Year's stream, we were on from like 8 PM GMT till about 4 o'clock in the morning. And I had a rule where I was playing roulette, where we had the PlayStation 5. And what I was doing was, on the premium tier, there's a classics game selection from all the eras of PlayStation. And so essentially I was literally calling a letter out, and the audience was deciding the game. And when we rolled a T... they chose truck racing on the PlayStation 3. And all I'll say is it's one of the worst racing games I've ever played. It doesn't help that on the PlayStation Plus Classics Premiums, the PlayStation 3 games are stream only. You can't download them. So there was all kinds of lag as it already was. But the actual game was god awful. It was so bad. It wasn't quite as bad as, say, Big Rigs Over the Road Racing or Desert Bus, but it was up there. It was absolutely horrendous. On the plus side, we did get to play the first Uncharted game for about 5 hours. And that made me complete that on the second stream, so that's actually a complete game in 2 streams. And while there was plenty of rage moments in that game, I actually really liked it. So you can find the footage if you just look for PlayStation Classics Roulette, it's called, I think. It was broadcast on New Year's Eve, so it's in my archive there. We played some interesting games that night. We also played a truly bizarre PlayStation 1 game called Ape Escape. I don't know what drugs they were on when they came up with that game. I've never played Driving Emotion Type S, but I've never played that one, but I've played my fair share of awful races. Truck racing, as I say, is right up there from the PlayStation 3. That was absolutely awful. There was also, on the PlayStation 1, there was a really bad attempt at... That was a Tommy Mackinnon Rally. That was atrocious. Oh! Okay, it didn't work to keep him behind me, but I kept him in touching distance. Hey, Exitel, Jumpin' is saying you love it. You love Ape Escape. Well, that's on PlayStation Plus Classics. If you have the PlayStation Plus Premium, you can download it. But say I played it and I just was it blew my mind. I'm like, what drugs am I on? I've not drunk for 3 years and I feel like I'm absolutely wasted. It was one of those games. So it's one of the titles that's included along with the likes of, say, like the Wild Arms games and Legend of Dragoon and for some reason the Trinity of Siphon Filter games. Sony, stop trying to make Siphon Filter happen. It's not going to happen. We don't want to play Siphon Filter for stealth games. We want Tenchu. We want Metal Gear Solid. Give us those games. Stop giving us Siphon Filter. We don't want it. That was an unexpected visit down rant lane for you all there. Apologies for that. I'll keep on par next time. I've never heard of Squadra Corsa Alfa Romeo, but I'm guessing it was a Alfa Romeo bets game. What platform was it on? I've never heard of it. I won't say it sounds exactly appetising, to be honest, but then again, it's, you know, it's a game. I think this is one of those cars where I might need to essentially try and qualify so I can guarantee that I'll get a decent position on the grid. Or if we have a grid start, it'll be okay, but it seems that you'd only be too far behind, because I've got a decent lead. I've not got a massive lead, but it's enough to get a victory at the moment, providing I don't do any more mistakes. And it was on the PS2, was it, Joe? It might be one for me potentially to acquire then. I might do that at some point. So as I say, I've actually already, by the way, I know we're not even into spring, but I've already decided what game I'm doing for Halloween. Believe it or not, I've already got All Hallows stream prepped and planned. I have a special game plan for it. I've acquired it, I've tested it, and it works. So I'll be announcing that later in due course. I'm not even going to add it to my schedule, because if I do, it'll be ridiculous to have a schedule 6 months ahead. This car's actually quite fun to drive. I'm quite enjoying it. It's a challenge, but at the same time I quite like it. Although it is chewing its tyres to pieces. You can see my rear tyres are already amber, not too far away from dipping into the red. So I've got to be careful here, because if I put too much exuberance on, I'll start spinning out. So I'm trying to thread the needle where I can. But it's not the easiest, it's not easy to drive that way. I'm too used to hanging on the ragged edge. Alan Prost, Jenson Button, Jackie Stewart, that's not my driving style. I'm much more the likes of Ayrton Senna, the likes of Nelson Piquet, the likes of Juan Pablo Montoya. Just gun it and hope. And I'm not comparing myself to those drivers, by the way, because I'm not even in the same library, I'm all in the same book. No Exeter, but we do actually want to do that, me and Nerdy Hound, at some point. We do actually want to go back and revisit that game. We have unfinished business with that game, me and Nerdy, and we might potentially mess around with that as another point. We do have unfinished business with that game that we want to pick up, so that's one for the future. Of course, I need to know what Nerdy's schedule is going to be so we can arrange it, but that is a plan for the future. Now, All Hallows Stream is a very unusual game. It's one that most of you will have never even heard of. And it's a game I want to play because, believe it or not, it is banned in the UK. I'm going to raise my middle finger to the government and play it. So we managed to win the first race of this tournament. We'll try again. Grand Valley Speedway. I'm actually going to... This will be a grid start, so I'm going to start. No Exeter. It's not made, but it's not made by Rockstar. It's not a Rockstar game. It's a game that was published by a publisher I've played a lot of games of on this channel. And it's a game that's obscure because it was banned. I don't even know the reason why it's banned. But all I will say is that it's banned. And I'm going to say bollocks to your ban. I'm playing it, and you're not going to stop me. That TVR nudged me off the track then, and that's screwed me over. Oh, well, that's if the TVR knocking me off didn't, oh, that Mercedes badge has gone through my spine and out my stomach. Wow. God, this AI is aggressive. Tell you what though, it's actually a fun race because it is a challenge. Oh, get out of my way, you Porsche driver. Oh, sorry, no, it's a roof. It's not a Porsche. Oh. Now this is a layout I've not driven in a long time actually. The full course of Gran Valley. Now it seems that my car's better in the bends, but the straightaway is being eaten alive. Which is a problem for a circuit like this, because the straightaways are actually quite long. So this is going to be a challenge to win in this car. But that's good. The last series we won was an absolute walkover. All the time you must leave a space. Oh, God. Some of Alonso's radio has been brilliant, hasn't it? But as I say, massive kudos to Alonso for his result for Aston Martin at the Bahrain. Oh, what the hell? Okay, I've not got no high-speed grip in this car. Yeah, it's actually tell there are quite a few banned games, admittedly, yeah, but the one I've chosen, as I say, I'll be very surprised if many people have even heard of it. It's a very obscure game, and it's so obscure that it's incredibly pricey to own. So no, I've not got a physical copy of it. The physical copy of it would possibly cost as much as my gaming desktop PC. And I am not joking, by the way. It is that rare. But I have found a way to play it, and that way works. So we will be doing that on All Hallows stream. That's what I'm calling it. But that's months away, so let's not worry about it. Now that I've managed to get into the lead, I'm actually finding it a bit smoother. Only a bit though. So what I'm trying to avoid squealing my tyres, because that's what killed me in the parry level. And with the kick of the turbo, the car's going very quickly out of the corner. So on straights like this one, my car's quite powerful. But there's a lot of long straights at the back end of the circuit, so I need to maximise the ability while I can. They should have called this tournament the Anglo-German Cup though, because we've got 2 TVRs and a Lotus versus 2 Mercedes and a Porsche. They should have called it the Anglo-German, I don't know, just the Anglo-German. Wow, it took 15 seconds out of my last lap time. That's quite impressive. Yep, and then I've added 15 seconds to my lap time on that one. Wasn't stopping. The car just was not stopping then. The brakes were struggling to cope, shall we say. But that's okay. We're still in the lead for now. We want to try and keep it. And let's say, this is the thing with the prize car only challenge. Sometimes you'll have a car that's absolutely dominant, and in other races you've really got to struggle. And it's kind of nice to have an adaptive challenge. In many ways it's what the more recent games should have done. It should have had it, you know, with the cafe menus where you're limited to only 3 cars. The challenge should have been ramped up as it went. as a way of teaching you how to balance your car and, you know, understand how to set them up, get the best out of them, before then unleashing you into a full Gran Turismo mode. Problem with Gran Turismo 7, I've said it before, is that the cafe menus end and then the game ends. That's it. So I think the Lotus, Joe, I think the reason why it's holding its own is because it's actually pretty good in the corners. And again, for the short straights, it's doing enough with the turbo. But the problem is the braking is where it's struggling a bit, but it's still a good car to drive. I'm quite liking it. Oh, yeah, don't mount the curb. That's not a good idea. Not a good way to gain grip by mounting the curb, people. Don't say I don't teach you any useful advice for driving. Yep, tiny little lift, 4-wheel steer, but we're there, excellent. Well, considering we went off at the first corner, we've only lost a few seconds. I'm quite impressed. I expected that to be a much slower lap. Because we're braking while turning, going to need to slow it down gradually. That's much more like it. Yeah, okay. Beautiful. Yeah, that's fine. Downhill braking, but a nice cambered hairpin. I've not actually driven the modern version of this track in Gran Turismo 7, but I understand they took it out of the forest and made it like a weird winding country road. Called it Grand Valley Speedway or Grand Valley Speed Line or something. And it just doesn't feel the same. There's something about the forestry that makes it nice. Kind of like Trial Mountain. Having it set in the forest is what made the track its unique thing. Taking it into a desert road just doesn't feel the same. And I gotta say, the analog triggers are really helping for applying the power. Using analog triggers on a modern controller versus the classic PS2 one, it's incredible how much of a difference it makes. It's why I preferred back in the day playing the likes of Test Drive Le Mans and Metropolis Street Racer on the Sega Dreamcast, because they had the analog triggers on the Dreamcast controller back in 1999, which is something that Sony didn't do until PlayStation 3. In many ways, Sega remind me of Lancia. When they got it right, they were dominant. The Sega Genesis was like their Lancia Stratos. Very futuristic, not very practical, and had a load of faults, but yet had absolutely classic livery, classic game catalogue, and went like the clappers, so it did everything you wanted it to. The Sega Dreamcast was like the Delta Integrale. It wasn't the prettiest machine, didn't have the greatest look, but it functioned absolutely beautifully, and you could take it anywhere. Then you had stuff like the Sega Saturn, which was like the Lancia Beta. It might have looked nice, but it fell apart in seconds. Be an interesting thread, that console companies, if they were car manufacturers. PlayStation a bit tighter, ruthless efficiency, driving technology forward, but when they have their mishaps, they're colossal mishaps. Microsoft, they're Chevrolet. They got a classic style and a lot of charm, they make a lot of noise, and when they get it right, they perform well, but other times they're notoriously unreliable, chunks of plastic. Nintendo. Who would Nintendo be? Known for being a bit too stubborn to an old formula but open to quirky designs. Nissan, maybe? Yeah, I think that might be accurate. Quite reliable, underpowered, nice look, prone to wacky designs, some of which work, quite a lot of which don't. And then we have Google Stadia. Which train wreck car company can I compare them to? Google Stadia. Promised the world and delivered nothing. I'm a bit spoiled for choice really on that one. MasterCard Lola from 1997. That's who owned Google Stadia were. Promised the world, guaranteed investment, and it all fell apart within months. Well, the tyres were absolutely shot by the end of that race, but we made it. We got to the end. Not bad. Yep, see, the computer's spun off. Oh! Comparing them to Fiat. Oh, that's harsh. Fiat have been around for a very, very long time. They needed to be a manufacturer that disappeared quickly. Oh, DMC DeLorean. Within 2 years. Yes, that's who Google Stadia were. DMC DeLorean. That's who Google Stadia were. They looked the part, they were expensive, they were noisy, and they didn't last very long. Ooh, we're at the Circuit de la Sarthe for 2 laps. Oh, nice. The home of the Le Mans 24 Hour. This is a track I'm not going to do well at. I am going to struggle here. Look at the straights for the Mulsanne. I am absolutely going to get murdered at this track. I will at best place 5th. Do not expect me to win this race. I expect to be absolutely mullered at this track. I won't have a hope. Oh! Oh! You absolute Manus. Yes, I stole that from Josh Ravel. Deal with it. As we head on towards Tetra Rouge. Yeah. Bit too wide there. Just caught the edge of the sand, but I might get away with it. I've got a distant tow on the back of the roof. I mean, to be fair, I've got a decent top speed. But even with that top speed, I'm nowhere near him. I'm going 178 miles an hour and they're not pulling away. They're not pulling away, but they're also not being reeled in. But my God, the brakes are good. The braking into the chicane was phenomenal. Okay, I'm going to revise my predictions. We're not coming 5th. We're going for it. It's Porsche versus Lotus. And the Lotus is saying farewell, good night Vienna. I'm on the brakes a bit earlier because I want to be. The roof tried to outbrake me then, but it just got it wrong. That's fine, I'm okay with that. Can I catch the Tuscan? That's the question. We're coming up to the famous Mulsanne hairpin, and I'm giving a tow to the roof. I don't want that. Nice one, the roof's gone into the sand. Brilliant. That was awesome. Very famous corner for that. I've seen that for real. I actually saw a Porsche 911 do exactly that when I was at Le Mans in 2014. I actually went to the Le Mans 24 Hour. It was one of the best weeks of my life. It was brilliant. Right, for now the Tuscan's getting away, but we're about to enter the Porsche curves. And this might be where the lowers has a bit better chance. Oh, okay. I'll settle for that. I do not know how I kept that on the island then. I kind of didn't, but it doesn't matter. I avoided a crash. I get the feeling the Tuscan's getting maybe 190, and I think that's the difference. It's just able to get the legs to pull away. It's a classic hare and rabbit duel, this. Oh, and it doesn't help that the Lotus locks its rear wheels under braking. That does not help. It is incredibly twitchy at high speed braking, this car. I'm liking this. This is a good challenge. Yeah, it's definitely liking the Porsche curves better than the Tuscan. It is a lot faster through the Porsche curves. So we're coming up to the Chevrolet chicane before coming up to the Ford chicane. Oh bugger. I've made a hash of that. Screw it. Going old school. Bollocks to it. No, it's not in the spirit of the rules, but I had to avoid a crash. That's my excuse. If the stewards want to investigate, let them. I'm not going to pay attention. Besides, that thing should easily reel me in on the straight. That should be no challenge for it whatsoever. Okay. I just wanted to get a quick panoramic view behind me. Normally I just use the rear view mirror and I can't see anyone in it, and that always makes me nervous. Nice. Okay. Are we going to achieve what's the almost impossible and win this race in the Lotus? Not exactly renowned for being like massive powerhouses on straights, the Lotus cars. They're normally designed for nipping round corners, and even then not being 100% reliable at it. Interesting, the TVR sits Chibira's second place now. It's not the Tuscan that's in second. I wonder if the Tuscan went off. Yeah, braking and turning at the same time is not this car's forte. Even though it's an MR, as in mid-engine rear-wheel drive, it still finds it quite tricky to brake while turning. Which is why I struggle getting into the corner into Indianapolis. I found it really hard to get the car braking. And of course, being a public road, this track is notoriously bumpy and uneven. It's why it's a real challenge to drive. But it's also very rewarding. Just 2 chicanes to go. Can I do it? That's the key question. You have to drive this car like you're almost trying to simulate anti-lock brakes and do dabbing of your brakes. But unbelievable, we won! I am flabbergasted I was able to do that. And it looks like the Tuscan's going to get it back at the end, but it's finished only 8 seconds adrift. On a circuit that long, that's incredibly close. Do you mean like F1 on the Bugatti circuit? Because they did briefly race on it in like the... I think it was in the 70s where they raced on the Bugatti circuit. I think it was the 70s where they did it, Joe, but then they didn't go down very well. They deliberately made the track for F1. Because, of course, F1 kind of fell out of love with Le Mans after that devastating crash in 1955 involving the Mercedes. In fact, Mercedes have had a terrible run of fortune at Le Mans. They had the crashes in 1999. They had the horrendous accident in 55. Mercedes, it's almost like it's been a cursed circuit for them. Oh my god. The Côte d'Azur. Oh, wow. Okay. We have a race around the Côte d'Azur. This is going to be interesting. We are at Monaco, baby. We've come from Le Mans, France, further south past Nice, and we're into the Mediterranean. The legendary city-state. Now, the one advantage of the Côte d'Azur is there's a lot of corners, and this is one area where the car has done well in this tour, in this particular championship, has been beating the computer at cornering. So there's a chance that I'm actually going to have a good shout of victory here. The only problem is it's Monaco, and anyone who's watched a lot of races at Monaco will tell you passing is not the easiest thing in the world to do, especially when you crash at Mirabeau. Crashing at Mirabeau is not going to help. Check it out, the roof has just gone past the TVR though, out into Portier 1. That's awesome. And I'm going to smash into the rear of the TVR at Portier 2. Dragon the Jima, good evening to you. Yes, we are here at Monaco. I'm driving a Lotus Esprit, and I am out of my class, to say the least. I'm up against Porsches, I'm up against TVRs, and I'm in an aging Lotus Esprit. As I continue my prize car only challenge. Is what I'm doing on this game. That's how I'm playing it. And we've actually got some decent cars from tonight's stream. Actually, we've also got some good vehicles. Oh, as understeery as anything. Tell you what, I'm not reeling them in at all at the moment here at Monaco. I'm really struggling. Yes, the Schumacher incident in qualifying is there's that many incidents involving Monaco. It's crazy. I remember you got like you qualified on pole and then got demoted, which was nasty. He also had that legendary incident when the track went for green flags and he overtook someone into Anthony Noakes, and then he got a penalty for overtaking after the safety car, and he's like, but the green flags were going, so why have I got a penalty? And they ended up to change the rules to make it clear that after the safety car pulls in, people can't overtake. Which I thought was nonsense, because at the end of the day, the track was green. He did nothing wrong. And I'm not exactly the first person to defend Michael Schumacher, but I will defend him for that one. Come here, Tuscan. Oh, rear-ended him in the tunnel. I mean, that could be a euphemism for something else entirely, but hey-ho. There you are, you're not getting past here, mate. It's time for me to go full centre on Mansell here. And it's ironic, of course, because I'm driving a Lotus. For Anthony Noakes, excellent. Ah, you saw the roof for the legendary one from the manga. Yeah, I think that car's in this game because there's actually a tournament for what's called the Lightweight Boxcar Cup, and it did say roof, so I think that's one of the cars. That's one challenge I might not be able to do because I'm not sure if I can get a prize car that qualifies, but we will see. I'm trying to complete as much of the game as I can without buying a car. Ah, the Maximum Tune. I've played them, Dragon. Where they actually have the arcade cabinets that actually have a clutch for you to like clutch and manual gear. It's the only arcade cab I've ever seen do that. I've seen plenty have handbrakes and I've seen plenty have like, you know, proper gear shifters, but that's the only one I know of that actually has a clutch where you have to clutch as well. Cue the hatred burning up at me in the chat now, mentioning how many times I've been to Japan. And I'd hate me too, so feel free. We didn't go much faster, but it doesn't matter because we made it round the course. Oh, yep. Just about got round Sandoval. No big deal that. Oh, Beau Rivage. Ah, nice. So you got a PS3 version imported from Japan. That's fantastic, mate. Gotta say, the Japanese exclusives of all games is really annoying. If you're a Dreamcast player, there's about 500 titles that are exclusive to Japan. Never came out anywhere else. So that's a real lottery as to what you're going to get. One time you might get a really awful pachinko game, and the next you might get a classic run and gun game. Mr. Mosquito, I've never heard of that game. Then again, Japan had some weird games that are exclusive. As I mentioned earlier, that for this year's Halloween stream, I'm going to be playing a game that was banned in the UK. Yes, bollocks to your ban, I'm lifting it and I'm playing it, there's nothing you can do. If you want to come after me, government, go right ahead. With a name like Mr. Mosquito, I'm not surprised that it's weird. I'm not surprised. Well, we're in the European series. We've done Paris, we've done Le Mans, we've done Grand Valley, which I'm guessing is in Europe in this game. So where are we going next? There's only one place I can think of. We are going to home turf for the Germans. I think our final race is going to be one lap of the Nürburgring Nordschleife. That's what I'm expecting. But I've got to get through Monaco first. Excellent. And now we're heading finally towards the next lap and the final lap. Oh, that felt like a very nice taking of Sandoval. That felt awesome. Quite low on grip though, must admit my tyres are almost shot to pieces. I'm just glad this isn't a final test. Oh, that's awesome, Dragon, no worries mate. Get yourself something nice. Oh, no, that's not a fast way around that corner. Clean race bonus does not apply to this race, it would seem. And here we go, it's going to be another victory for the Little Lotus. It's punched way above its weight tonight. Yeah, I think I might have been thirsty. Well, this next race we can come anywhere we like. We're going to win the title in the next race. We have a 14-point cushion, and there is a maximum of 10 available to my knowledge. So this is going to be a championship decider. We can take our time. At least I believe so. Let's not jump the gun. Yes. Oh, we have 2 laps of the Nordschleife. 2 laps. Wow. Dick move game. Oh, wow. That is a dick move. 2 laps. I was expecting 1. We only had 2 laps of La Sarthe. This circuit's twice as long. In terms of lap time, anyway. Oh, you're not kidding, Joe. Yeah, the tyres are going to be shot. Rest assured, I am going to be driving on the rims like I've gone over a bleeding, what's it called, a police stinger by the end of this race. I know. Luckily, I think I can come last and still win the title, so it's not that big a deal, but it's just annoying. So this is where precision is going to be important, which is a problem because I'm driving and I'm not very precise. Oh! Oh! You absolute cockstain! Well, if the tyres weren't going to be shot, they are now. Oh! That was a very British insult, by the way. I do apologise if that offended anybody. Wasn't intended to offend anyone. Well, if I wasn't going to win before, I'm definitely not going to win now. But let's give it a try anyway. Let's see how we go. Well, I managed to catch quite a big gap up actually, surprisingly. So that's good. Maybe I should have put sports mediums on. Yeah, that's what I should have done. I should have put sports mediums on. Having said that, it's the only way of beginning the pace. No, the Mazda Miata MX-5, that's a very common car to start with, and to be fair, it's a good choice actually. It's quite easy, it's quite good for the Sunday Cup, it's quite good for the low-level front-rear challenge ones. You can tune it to quite decent levels, it's not a bad car at all. Sorry dude, that was because he nudged me into you. Now, do me a favour and get out of my way. There we go. That's what happens for punting me into the wall. You get past cleanly. Because I'm a better driver than you. So this is the part where we're going to be in pretty serious bother, I think, but we're just going to have to make the most of it. Because the problem with the course here is it's constant bending, and that means that it's very easy to lose the tyres. Yeah, I know about that. I've already got it. The prize car. The thing is, Dragon, I'm trying to avoid you buying cars. So the only thing that money's good for is tuning them. So if I find that I need money for tuning, that's exactly what I'll do. I will farm that car and get money offline. But otherwise, I'm trying to use prize cars where I can to win. I want to see how much of the game I can get through without buying cars. It won't be possible to 100% it. I've never actually 100%ed this game because there's so many races you have to do. And some of the races are really quite tedious, even if you use B-Spec mode. So I'm trying to drive a bit like a grandma at the moment to try and save the tyres. Because the tyres get shredded very easy in this car. You hear the tyre squeal there. But the thing is, I'm actually surprisingly still catching up, even though I don't feel like I'm going that fast. Now either I'm being deceptively fast, or they're being very slow. So I'm kind of like scrubbing the pace off so I can avoid squealing the tyres. Try and get the tyres to hang on. Because then if I nurse them for this lap, I can go all out attack on the next one. You might wonder why I'm not attacking now. It's because it's easier to burn your tyres to the end than conserve them. You can react to pressure a lot more if you've got more grip at the end. It's why you often see in motorsport teams trying to avoid strategies where they have to do pits in the last 10 laps. They want to be out there just keeping them going. But some teams will see an opportunity and go for it and absolutely burn them. Oh, nice. I've not actually been able to make the Mad Chainsaw mode pop yet. I'll need to find out how to do it. I also do want to low-key get the mod to turn that game into the Teletubbies. Just because it'd be a funny video. I won't be able to send it to my sister though, because my sister's daughter loves the Teletubbies. So if I sent it to her, I'd be accused of trying to give a kid nightmares. Well, I am reeling this car in somehow. I don't know how I'm doing it, because I don't feel like I'm driving very fast. But that's okay, because that might be a good thing. Yes, catching first place is not likely in this car. Having said that, there's a duel going on. I can see at the end of the road. So if those guys are having a fight, that could be that could be actually a potential opportunity. Yeah, we're topped out 175. We're not going any faster. That's an issue. Yeah, the roof is winning. Well, it's not a surprise to see that a Porsche is doing well at the Nürburgring. There's one track in the world that Germans should know like the back of the hand. It's here. Oh, excellent. They're getting closer. Oh, hello. That CVR's gone off. See, I like the fact that the computer makes mistakes in this game. Normally in Gran Turismo games, they have a prescribed line and they always take it perfectly. The fact that it's AI that makes mistakes, goes off the circuit, is brilliant. It's just so... it feels so much more organic. And this, you might argue, is a chase the rabbit level, but it's not, because we kept so close together at the start, we were nose to tail. Oh, yes. Get out of my way, sunshine. Oh, dick move, dick move. Right, okay, Mr. Speed 6, this is war. Nudging me is bad enough, nudging me into the wall? Who do you think you are, me? Give me your slipstream. I'm eating you for breakfast, dinner, and lunch. Oh, no, you don't. Mad skill's keeping up with me, mate, but not this time. No. I don't think so. Yes, it's risky because of the tyres. No, I don't care. I've got the red mist. Oh, fuck. So much for that. Right, plan B. See, even with the conserving that I did on the first lap, because of the couple of spins that I had, it's torn the tyres. So I get the feeling that no amount of red mist and swearing is going to help here. So let's kind of drop that. Let's stop being Jeremy Clarkson, and let's think about trying to actually be a racer. Out of the corners, my car is lightning compared to theirs. There's just one problem. Grip. I'm losing all my grip. Out of the corner, but literally like gassing out of it, fine, not a problem. But it's getting the car stopped going in. My rear tyres are in such poor condition now that I keep on like skidding around, and it's making it very difficult. But that's okay, because Again, this car wasn't really meant to conquer the Nordschleife in this kind of manner. It was designed to get round the corners. It's not designed for the all-out mile-long straights. This is very much more the Le Mans racer track rather than the Gran Tourer. And you can definitely see my tyres are absolutely shot. The only way I'm going to beat this is either A, they have tyre troubles themselves, or B, I get very, very lucky. No good. No good. Absolutely no good. Yeah, I'm going to have to try and settle for 4th place here. My tyres are absolutely shot. There's nothing I can do. I'm not going to be able to keep the car on the island. Yeah. I'm going to have to protect 4th place. I'm going to have to do a slow, lonely drive to 4th. The tyres just will not last. It's been a valiant effort, Lotus, but you're not getting the Grand Slam. You're not getting the Grand Slam here, I'm afraid. But that's okay, because you've still managed to achieve the impossible and win a very, very difficult, not a series you're not really meant to be a competitor in. You're not really designed for this. You're designed for the slow cruises. You're up against much more modern cars with much more modern systems and power, and you've fended them off beautifully. So I'm going to give you a nice quiet retirement, and if that means slipping down to 5th or even last because the tyres are dead, so be it, because you're still going to finish a champion. At least I hope so. Look at the tyres now. We've got half a lap to go at the Nürburgring, and I've got tyres which are bald. I've got tyres which are so bald. I am driving literally like I'm on ice. Actually, no, it's not fair. I'd get more grip on ice. I'm literally sliding every time I'm hitting the brakes now. This is very, very difficult. Even feathering the throttle isn't helping. I was like feathering the throttle then. No good. You can actually hear now it's spinning up the tyres. The question is, will 5th and 6th pass me before the end? At this rate, I say yes. At this rate, I'm absolutely screwed. I'm actually struggling to put the power down now. I'm actually struggling to put the pedal all the way to the floor. So I mean, this is hilarious. I've got less grip than taking slicks on a dirt track. I've got as much grip as the Tory government does on reality. Oh my god, this is awful. Oh, that's not going to help. Being punted. Well, 5th and 6th are definitely going to pass me now. Listen to these tyres. Look at them. I'm deliberately trying to go. I'm going at 50 miles an hour and I cannot move my car. Oh, and then I've been punted again. Yeah, I definitely needed medium tyres, if not hards. Yeah, the sports soft tyres are not designed for multiple laps on the Nürburgring. This is going to be the slowest second lap of all time. I don't think any... before anyone thinks, was this because I tried to race at the start of the lap? The answer is no. The answer is no. It wouldn't have mattered. These tyres are given up far too soon for that to be any kind of merit whatsoever. Listen to the tyres. Listen to them. The rears are spinning up at 40 miles an hour. I'm drifting. I'm literally drifting. Right, here we go. It's a straight. Can I get the power down? Listen to those tyres. I'm going 130 miles an hour. 150 on bald tyres. This is legit the most terrifying, and here he goes. Yep, it was bound to happen. It was bound to happen. Even in reverse, I could barely move. Oh my god. How long after the front five have finished am I gonna finish? 2 minutes? 3 minutes? We're a full minute slower than our last lap already. Oh my god. If this would have been 1 lap, it'd have been okay, but nope, they made it 2. I might tend to be a cheat here. I've got an idea. I might finish in the pits. That was actually faster. Believe it or not, it was faster to go through the pits, and I was 2 minutes behind. I lost over a minute and a half. But it doesn't matter, because we are still in first place after 5 races at the championship. Let's not watch that again. Let's not do that. Yes, check out the little keyring with a measly 800 credits. Yes, take these and get out of here, you loser. But we won the championship. That's the most important part. And so, what is our prize going to be? What do we get? Oh, yes! Now that's a car that I can potentially enter into quite a few races. That's a car! The Jaguar XJ220 Le Mans race car. What an absolute beauty. One of the last of the great Jags that was made. Absolutely awesome. And I want to quickly check. All cars are permitted, which means we will, next time we race on this game, be attempting to play the British GT Championship, because we now have a car that I think is going to be competitive. And on that note, that is where we are going to be signing off for tonight. Yes, we finished with a winning championship against all odds. And that was a lot of fun. And with that, we're going to be back in 2 evenings' time on the Thursday, where we are going to be carrying on with our playthrough of Shin Megami Tensei, a Digital Devil Saga 2, I believe. I'll have to check the rotation just to be sure. So that's Thursday evening, 8 PM GMT. We'll be back again. Until then, thank you all very, very much for watching. And fit hard tyres to the rear when doing multiple laps at the Nürburgring next time.